Open line hour, whatever you'd like to chat about, 989 752 6111. That is the number to call. It'll put you in the queue, and we'll be happy to chat with you this morning. Yeah, I know there's lots going on, but it is the holiday season, so we can maybe think about the holiday season too and all of that good stuff. I do have a question for you. You know, here we are in December 2nd already, mid-November. We had a significant snow incident. We had what? I had about 5 inches on my property. I had to get the snow blower out after I bought a tractor battery. Do you know what tractor batteries cost? Oh, my goodness gracious, I was surprised. Small battery for my garden tractor was $200, thank you. But well worth it, so I could sit on it and use my big snow blower to clear my property. But what do you think the winter is going to be like? I mean, you know, if you read, I got a kick out of looking earlier this year at the Farmer's Almanac, you know, often quoted as to what's going to happen in the winter. And as recently as, I don't know, a month ago when I saw some of it, as far as being cold this winter, 50% chance colder, 50% chance warmer. Thank you very much. Same thing for precipitation, because the unknown is the La Nina sitting off the coast of Southern California and a little farther south. And the temperature of the water in the ocean creates these La Ninas and El Ninos, and they have influence on our weather. And supposedly we will have that influence this year, although a lot of times when there have been La Ninas, if I'm not mistaken, we've been actually warmer and drier than normal. Right now we are not in that vein, to say the least. All right, it is open phones, and I see the lines are stacked already, so we're going to go to them this morning and get started. Carl is up first in Saginaw. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Art. Yeah, I'm still stiff and sore from shoveling a couple days ago, and now the cold weather, you know, doesn't help with that.
That's for sure.
Yeah. This story about the boat strike in Venezuela, back in September, I want to make the point that, you know, just a few days ago, Trump in the White House was saying, you know, this never happened. It was fake news. Don't believe any of this. Now they're admitting, yes, it did happen, and that there was a second strike. And I also thought it was interesting that, remember Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, I guess now, after this strike in September, in October, he called back all the generals and admirals from almost all over the world and had a meeting, and he talked about no more rules of engagement. You know, the gloves are coming off. You know, we're going to fight to win. And I don't think that's a coincidence that after this happened, he calls all the generals in and says, you know, the rules have changed. What do you think, Art?
Well, I guess the answer to that is two different things. If, and I say if because I don't know all the facts, but if they did a second strike just to take out 2 survivors who were injured, I would not be in favor of that. If there were other reasons that had to do with security and defense, well, okay, explain it to me. Tell me what they are.
Sure.
I have to be honest, I am not against the boat strikes themselves. We have put up with illegal drugs long enough. It's about time somebody did something about it, more than just give it lip service. So from that standpoint, I have no problem. I would have a problem.
Okay, Art.
I would have a problem at killing survivors I think the responsibility for that lies on rescuing them and then bringing them to justice. Because to be honest with you,
Yes.
I'd like to see some of them come to justice in courts. And
Well,
then,
that's
then
the
we
way it's
know for
supposed to
sure.
happen.
And then we know for sure.
Yeah.
But I do not have a problem
You know,
striking the boats.
Okay, when the Coast Guard interdicts boats coming here that they think have drugs on them, about 25% of the time they're wrong. There are no drugs on the boats. And that's so. That rule.
Well,
of thumb
I don't
works.
know that to be a fact. I have no idea.
Well,
Nothing. Listen.
Anyway,
Let's start with
there's
this.
No declared war.
Let's start with this. Nothing is perfect.
Well, and the fentanyl is not coming from Venezuela. The cocaine, yes. Fentanyl is not coming from here. That's not where the
No,
the
some
drugs
of it
that are
has
killing
been.
people
No,
are
some of
coming
it.
from.
Some of it is filtering through there. It may come out of China,
No,
but it's filtering through.
no. The 99% of it's coming from China, and we're not doing very little about that.
Yeah.
And then, did you see that Trump just pardoned this former president of Honduras, who's a major drug lord, who boasted
I have no idea.
about shoving cocaine up the Yankees' noses. He got convicted in a U.S. court, and now Trump is going to pardon this guy.
Is going to or did?
So,
He said it
well,
two
I guess
ways.
it's in the process.
Which
right
way
now.
is it? So he
It's
didn't
in the-
do it. He didn't do it yet. Because you said he
He's
did.
in the process of doing it. But why?
How do you know that?
It's in the news. It's all over the news.
All right.
Art, I don't think. All right, Art, I don't think you watch a lot of different sources of news. If
Well,
you haven't,
I
you haven't
do.
seen this
I
story?
do. But when I hear in the process, I hesitate. I wait till it's done. Then I can say, okay, it was done. Because a lot of things in
Okay.
process don't make it to fruition. So, all right, I got to
Okay,
run.
Sure.
Good enough.
Okay.
Talk to you. Bye-bye. Here's Mike in Thomas Township. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to get away from Carl's comments for just a minute because I want to talk about the Christmas cactus. You and Charlie have been talking about it, and I went online, and you can identify the difference between a Christmas and an Easter cactus. I have a Christmas cactus that's got over 25 blooms on it right now, probably 30. I can't even count them. There's so many. And it's definitely a Christmas cactus. The flowers are a little different shade, and the leaves are a little different than a Easter cactus.
I would also think an Easter cactus doesn't bloom right now, does it?
Well, I mean Thanksgiving cactus. I'm sorry.
I was going to say. Okay,
Because
Thanksgiving
they do
cactus.
call some Easter. Yeah, I got off the track. No, but Thanksgiving one. And but mine, I've never had this many blooms in my life on it, and it's got so big. And my cactus is over. Let's see, it's 4 generations, so it's probably a couple hundred years old. I got the original from Clara Strobel. That was Ralph Strobel's wife, and she gave a cutting to us from her mother and her grandmother, and so it's our generation, and things doing well. Now back to Venezuela and the boat strikes. The press and Congress are demanding that they tell them where they get their. Screw them. You don't tell people where you get your intelligence from. What is the matter with these people?
No, wait a minute.
Okay, well.
Just a minute. You have to remember this.
Okay.
Congress has oversight responsibility. They can ask those questions, and they can hold a closed session to get that information.
Okay, I didn't say that they couldn't do it. I just say, but they're demanding it in the
let
press.
it be. You kind of intimidated that.
Well, I know, but I just hate it when they try to yeah, you're right. They have oversight, but they leak so much stuff, Art, that it's just terrible.
Yeah,
I don't blame anybody for not telling them stuff.
Unfortunately, that's the nature of government on all sides.
It wasn't
Not
during World War
only
II.
leaked from Congress, it leaks from the departments, it leaks from the bureaucrats. Everybody's in the leaking game these days, and it's different.
Yeah.
It used to be, You're right. World War II, nobody heard any of that. Absolutely. But the reality is today, in this electronic world we live in, it's a different game. And you got to learn to play it or you're going to be left out in the cold.
Okay, the other thing about that strike, real quick, on that strike, they hit it and there was quite a bit of debris left, so they called in a second strike. And this is done automatically. They have cameras on the drones, so they
all right.
They can do that. But anyway, they had to finish the mission.
All right, good enough.
Okay, bye.
Leave it there, Mike. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dave, hang on. We'll get to you next after these notes.
Shop and save and
on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
Now we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show for this Tuesday morning, 2nd of December, and Dave is in Bay City. Dave, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Arthur, and may I wish you and listeners seasonal glad tidings of great joy.
Same to you, and did I hear you on Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins with a musical selection the other day? Or was it a different show?
That may... I can either I can either confirm or deny. It could have been, might have been. But and Art, I'm very sorry to hear about your $200 expense to get your snowblower going.
Me too.
And now, of course, and I'm saying this sarcastically, that was Donald Trump's fault. You know that,
of course.
And, my snowblower experience on Sunday only cost me $20. That was the copay to the chiropractor. But, yeah.
Well, you see, I don't have to worry about that. I sat on a tractor.
See, there you go, man. Yeah. I'm going to have to do that. I think I am, which will cost me about $5,000 because of Donald Trump. But
there you go.
Anyways, I love always observing the ideological spectrum on your show here. It's quite illustrating. And, two figures of recent history come to mind as I'm listening. And the first one is Spiro T. Agnew, of all people. Mm-hmm. Because, I do hear some nattering nabobs of negativity. I do. Just, there it is. And then Ronald Reagan's quote, "It's not that our Democrat friends are wrong, it's just that they know so many things that aren't true." So,
yeah, I remember that.
So here's the thing. This taking out of the drug boat, and I'm so glad that you brought up World War II, Art, because if there would have been the nonstop scrutiny, I mean, Dwight Eisenhower never would have had D-Day. It would not have happened. They would have had him court-martialed long before that.
Well, the Germans would have known where and when, too. So.
Well, and you and I would be sprechen Sie Deutsch, mein Freund. Yeah. So there's that. But, here's what just gets me and irks me. So how many Americans have died from fentanyl, cocaine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Hundreds of thousands. And we're splitting hairs over two dead narco-terrorists.
Yeah, I understand that, but I will also point out that in the rules of war, for example,
right?
On a battlefield, once the battle's done, you have some responsibility to the survivors.
Well, how many Germans were executed? And again, guys would have been court-martialed if we had the 24/7, 365. Would it happen?
Who knows?
It would have happened. And yeah, yes, closed-door hearings on, okay, what happened, what went down. And you know what? How many times have these challenges from courts, from whatever, against Donald Trump, how many of those challenges have prevailed? Almost none. this thing of lawfare, this thing of over scrutiny, overwrought reaction to my president, Donald J. Trump, the best president of my lifetime, and I'm going to say probably American history.
Well, history will have to decide that, but
history
time will tell.
have to decide that.
I will
But
tell
I'm
you
ready-
this, though.
I
I will tell you this: midterm elections come up next year,
oh yeah,
and
Oh, yeah.
Republicans better be prepared because right now they're in a tenuous position.
yep.
All right,
Well, and okay. God bless, Art.
same to you. Thanks, Dave. Bye now. And here is Scott in Saginaw. Scott, good morning.
Hey, morning, Art. I don't want to belabor this thing here with the whole second strike. The only thing that we know for a fact is 2 missiles were launched. And the only people saying that there were survivors are, once again, the Democratic Party. And so this kind of sounds like another story to where, Donald Trump was wrestling with a Secret Service agent trying to steal the limousine to go to January 6th Capitol to beat up police.
Yeah.
Just because they have an accusation doesn't mean it's actually true. But what I would like to talk about is something that actually did take place. We had 6 Democrat lawmakers that came together and they conspired. Yes, they conspired, because that's to do something secretly, to make a plan with something to be harmful, or for circumstances to work together to produce a bad result. What was the bad result? 2 of our service members were gunned down in our Capitol. This, Art, is the Democratic Party. This is what they are now. We need to realize this. Stop playing games. They are violent. Look at Tim Walz. He's coming out now. He's running around going, well, Donald Trump's ranting and raving. All the while, he's giving money to terrorists.
Yeah, no, Walz, he's another, that's a whole other story.
He could have been our vice president.
Yeah. Well, listen.
That corrupt man could have been our vice president.
Let's go back to the 2 servicemen that were shot in D.C. The total responsibility lies on the guy that shot him.
The rhetoric, the 100%.
The rhetoric about
the
you don't have to.
Party.
The rhetoric of the 6 Democrats telling service members you don't have to follow illegal orders.
And not one of those 6 could produce one unlawful order.
Oh, I understand that. I don't think they were right in doing that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they were right in doing it.
What is the circumstance, though, that's going to happen with these lawmakers saying this? Democrats aren't going to love our military. They're going to hate them more.
Well,
so now our military is going to be in more jeopardy walking our streets, whether they're just walking through Myers or Walmart. You might have some stupid Democrat.
Yeah, all right. But listen, Donald Trump has said some dumb things, too, and some people could take that as being motivational. There's enough of that. There's enough of that to go around, and I wish heck they'd stop doing it.
But again, speaking a word is not the same. We had Charlie Kirk assassinated. Now, one Republican turned around and retaliated. But some Democrats went and attacked them. Then you have Kareem Bowden trying to say that because Charlie Kirk was shot by a white homosexual, that black colleges are now under assault.
Yeah.
Where's this man? See, this is the nuts, the craziness of the Democratic Party. Kareem Bowden on his show said 4 black men were hung.
I know. I heard that.
Yeah. I mean, where's he come up with this? See, that's just creating more hatred.
All right.
That's all it's doing.
Fair enough.
Well, you guys got to watch this, Art. Don't let that stuff be on your station. He's got a responsibility to what he says. And if he's calling people racist, saying the police are too inept to figure this out, that's not a good message he's given.
It's an opinion show, and he is free to give his opinion, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. That is the nature of the beast, because if you censor him, then you have to censor me and everybody on the show. If we don't like what you say, it's not what I say. It's the fact that I can say what I want.
But there's a difference.
Well, no, there's not really. Well, all right. I mean, there's a difference because you don't like what he said. I understand that.
No, because there's no link to where a white homosexual who has sex with other white men shot a white man in the neck.
All right.
How does that link to black people getting
all right? I got you.
Threats.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Good enough. Thanks. Bye-bye. Let's see. We got time for one more. No, I got to take a break, and then we'll get to Mark and Ed when we return.
It's natural to have questions.
right, back with you here on WSGW. And back to our phones on this open line hour. Mark is in Midland. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you today?
Good.
So I would like to say before I get into my topic, I would like to ask you, do you think that food prices are down?
Depends on the food. Ask me about eggs, the answer is yes. Ask me about meat, the answer is no.
So as a whole, though, do you think
it's more expensive?
You think it is more expensive, huh?
Overall, if you go in and shop with a $100 bill and do exactly what you've done in the past, you will probably have one or two less items in your grocery basket.
Now,
But however, in some ways, that's typical inflation.
Right. Okay. So what I would like to talk about is people who call up who say they're independents and say they whatever and say whatever. I wonder if they actually realize over the weekend the gas was in the 280s.
Yep, it's down. Gas is down.
And when you talk about your whole cost of living, it seems to me that it's cheaper than it was a year ago.
Well, again, I'm going back to what I said. It depends what you're buying, and I'm going to give you a perfect example of it. This weekend, before I could start my tractor, it had a dead battery and it wouldn't take a charge. I had to take that tractor battery, which I believe 6 years ago when I bought it was under $100. It cost me $199 for the exact same battery. And that's prices, they're up. I mean, listen, here's the issue politically, and see what you think of this. Prices are going to go up because of inflation. That's natural. We've had some prices go up because of tariffs, but that's yet to be totally worked out. But the president ran on lowering prices, and history will tell you the population votes with their pocketbook. If prices don't stabilize, don't come down, and I have said many times on this show, he has probably till mid-spring to see that happen. Otherwise, it's going to impact the midterms. And that's just the way I view it. You may agree or disagree, but that's the way I view it.
Okay. That being said, the people who were complaining about gas prices a year ago or 2 years ago when they were in the $4, now that they're in the 280s, how come they don't say, well, thank you, or whatever? That part of cost of living is helping us because I get that everything can't go up and down, and I get you got to look at the big picture, and when you get raises, the cost of living goes up. But when you knock $1 something off a gallon, 1 gallon of gas, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, complainers will only complain because that's what they do. If one thing moves on, they move on to the next thing to complain about. It's the nature of the beast. Got to run. Mark, appreciate it. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye now. And let's talk to Ed in Harrison before I have to take a break here. Ed, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks.
I have a question to ask you. I know this subject's been well talked about on the radio. Jeffrey Epstein. Of all this conversation about these girls that were involved in this, where were their parents when all this was going on?
Well, the answer to that is not every family structure is like you and I would like our structures to be. There are many, many broken homes in this country, and the young people in those homes are easy to victimize. And, much of what happened is because a lot of those young women didn't have direction from a solid family that taught them right and wrong and all of that. They were easy to victimize. Most victims, when you trace back their histories, you find out that they weren't given the right track of path. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
I guess, I understand that, but, like I said, of all the conversations, I never heard anybody asking the question I just asked. Where were these parents when these kids were running around and doing this and doing that and involved in more things?
They were either busy doing their own things or didn't care. The answers are obvious, unfortunately, but there are people like that.
And then just with your previous caller was talking about gas prices. I happened to have to go to Mount Pleasant the other day, and I paid $2.49 for gas in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, how about that?
Harrison is $3.09.
Well, that's all right. I was in San Diego, California. It was $5.29. So let's take that one to the bank.
I mean, there's quite a difference.
You bet.
And part of the reason in Mount Pleasant is they have a new gas station that's moved into the Mount Pleasant area.
Yeah, competition.
And they're keeping their prices down, and everybody else is being forced to bring them down, too.
Yep. All right. I got to run. Got to take a break.
Right. Anyway, you have a good day, Art.
Ed, you too. Thanks a lot. Tim, hang on. We'll get to you next.
It's a joy to watch your kids.
And if they circle back and they're whacking people that are in the water, that's illegal. You cannot do that.
Right, and I'd want to know the reason. I want to know what caused the second missile.
I got it.
If
we're going to have to investigate.
Exactly.
My point being is there's laws to this.
Yeah.
There are rules of engagement you have to follow.
Exactly.
And there are rules for a reason. So it doesn't matter what somebody's passionate about. Hey, they're drug dealers are coming to the country. I got it. I got it. It doesn't matter if they're Al-Qaeda. You still have to give them the benefit of the doubt in this area. So you just can't go whacking people like this. However, the drug votes I agree with. So I agree with Trump a lot of the times. I do. However, that guy says some ridiculous things. What cracks me up is nobody on the right will even acknowledge he says these things. He was on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago with Norah O'Donnell, and he's doing his Trump thing, his clown and trumpet and bumping around how awesome he is. And he's the greatest thing since the greatest thing that ever been invented. And one thing, it was like he said, everyone's 401k has doubled since I took office. And I'm just like, wait a second. What did he just say? And how can he get away with that? He didn't say the rate of return has doubled. He doesn't say something. He says your 401k has doubled.
Well, let me explain something about Trump. As a New Yorker, I watched this guy for years and years and years. Hasn't changed an iota. That's who he is.
No.
And you either accept it or you don't accept it. But I don't believe everything that comes out of his mouth. I don't like everything that comes out of his mouth. Matter of fact, as I've said this many times, when I voted for him, it was for his policies, not for him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But it's what I'm getting at is like the previous callers, kind of cherry pick information.
Yeah.
You go, gas prices are down. Gas prices are down this weekend. Trump is doing a great job. Come on. Gas prices went. Hey, I got it. Gas prices went down. That's an international commodity. It's really hard for me to say that Donald Trump lowered gas prices when I know what goes into gas prices, how it's an international commodity, and it's affected with so many different things. He's doing a good job with the drill and some of the subsidies.
Yeah, he can have some impact. There's no. I do believe that. But not the kind of impact that drops at $1. Maybe he's responsible for a nickel of it.
Exactly.
10 cents
That's what I mean.
of it.
It's like people cherry pick the information. It's like, and they're asking, are prices down? Overall, I don't see prices coming down. Some areas, you're right, they're down. Some areas, they are not down.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right. When he runs on the economy,
he's going to live with it.
And he's going to live with it. And that was a part of the 60 Minutes thing. The economy is great. It's ever been. It's the greatest since the great things have ever been great. And it's like,
well, some things, you know what it is? Some things about it have the possibilities of being great. If we see a resurgence in industrial investment in this country, that's a great thing, and that will help the economy. However, it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight.